Well, howdy, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today we've got a special video, one I've been thinking of making for a long time, and I decided since I have all this time on my hands, I'm going to go ahead and make it now. Okay, that made absolutely no sense, but I think you get the idea. Let's get it started right now. Now, I know all of you out there that have watched my UNRaid videos love UNRaid, and so do I. It has its place. But I'm a Windows guy, and I got to thinking to myself, would it be possible to make a server using Windows that is similar to how UNRaid works, but with a GUI interface and making it much easier to use? So that was the challenge I put forward to myself, and I think I managed to do it. So I'm going to warn you in advance, this video is a little bit long, but there's a lot of detail in it and a lot went into it. So, and this will probably be a series of videos moving forward as I build upon what I've done on this server. So enough babbling, let's get the video started right now. This is the GTX 950, the old one I have that I did the fan repair on. Well, the poor man's fan repair on with blue painter's tape. It works. Fans spin. That's all I care about. So let's pop this in here. Get it mounted. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a I'm going to go ahead and put a fiber card in here. Or not a fiber card, but I'm going to put a 10 gig NIC in here. I have this 10 gig Mellanox card, I think. Oh, let's see. ConnectX Mellanox card. I think we'll go ahead and put that in there too. Why the hell not, right? I think it's natively supported by Windows 10. So put it in there. If I use it, great. If not, I've got it in there just in case. I guess the goal with this build, I don't know, I'm just trying to emulate UNRaid, but using Windows. So let me go handheld and just show you what I got here. X570 MSI motherboard, or I'm sorry, Asus motherboard, and I've got my Ryzen 5. I've got a Ryzen 5. This shows I have a 2600 in here. But actually this chip is my Ryzen 5 1600. Why it's being identified as a 2600, I don't know. But anyway, it is. So I've also got my G-Skill RAM in here, back from my original Ryzen 5 1600. And then tucked down here, I've got a Kingston SSD drive. It's about 500 gig. Then I have my drive bay, 4-drive drive bay, with 4 2 terabyte Seagate drives in it. These are the ones I originally started with when I started my channel, so these drives have been troopers. Just put them in here. I'm going to put Drive Bender on here, set them up in a Drive Bender array. And yeah, 16 gig RAM. Then I've got this Corsair Vengeance RAM that failed before at high speed, but I'm going to test it again in here. I'm going to mix up RAM speeds. I know I shouldn't do it, but anyway, there's my GTX 950 video card. There's my 10 gig Mellanox card, X2 card, an older one, 16 gig of RAM, AMD CPU. So now the next thing to do is to get Windows installed on this. And so once I get Windows installed, pardon me, then we can go over to the main computer and get it all configured. I have a Windows 10 USB key, so I'm just going to pop that in the front here. Going to make sure I've got my keyboard mouse plugged in directly. I've got a, this is an older Samsung monitor, but I do have this DVI, I'm sorry, I have this DisplayPort to DVI adapter, so I'm going to use that to plug into that 950 video card. There we go. Now I'm in the BIOS. So, alright, so I'm going to go into advanced mode. And I'm going to go over to boot. So, I want it to boot first. I want to disable all these other boot devices. Let me disable them, and then I want to disable that, and then I want to choose the UEFI partition 1. Now, and I want to disable the Mellanox boot. So that was the Mellanox 10 gig card. I don't want it booting off of that either. So we'll save those changes and reset, and then it should boot off of the UEFI USB key in the front and let me install Windows. See if the Mellanox pops up here. Yeah, it pops up. Gives me the BIOS boot screen. And then it should start booting off the USB key. Yep, I see the little red light flashing. I forgot to do something. I forgot to unplug the other hard drives. So let me turn it off. Power the unit off here. There we go. There's the Mellanox. Alright, it should boot off my USB key. So I've got the 512 gigabyte Kingston SSD in here. I will install Windows onto that, and then my virtual machines will run off of that drive as well. Then I've got these 4 2 terabyte drives. I'll just put in a Drive Bender array for storage in case, you know, I need some archival storage, and I'll boot up this machine when I want to play with virtual machines. And the beauty is, because it's running Windows, I can also remote desktop into the Windows 10 VM and do my virtualization remotely. So I can do it from my desk without having to actually physically come over to this machine. And this will kind of be a machine where I can kind of sandbox new software and that kind of thing and just play around with them. Well, now it sees it. Okay, so we're going to install it onto this drive. Go ahead and delete the partition that's there. So 447 gig. And you've seen Windows install before. So we'll come back and continue when Windows install is complete. So the install is pretty much complete. Let me move my camera around here so you can get an idea of the monitor. Okay, because this is an Asus motherboard, it's coming up and it's asking me if I want to do the Armory. And I'm going to tell it no for now. And so it's telling me it's got a bunch of devices ready. No, we'll just leave that alone. No, please go away. Okay, so I've got an NVIDIA video card in here. Now, at this point, what I like to do is change a couple of settings. One, I go in and I type in power here. So I want to make sure this computer does not go to sleep. So I'm gonna have it turn off the monitor after 15 minutes and turn off the PC never. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to mess with Wake on LAN. I guess it's something we could do later, mess with Wake on LAN. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this machine a name. So we're going to come here to this PC, go to properties, we're going to go to change settings, come here to the change button, and I'm going to call this machine, let's just call it UNRaid. That's a good name, isn't it? Windows RAID server. That's fine. WinRaid. Okay. Now it's going to tell you need to restart these changes for your before that you can do anything else. Close it. Tell it restart later. Because the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to remote settings, and I'm going to go allow remote connections to this computer. Click apply, then OK. Then I'm going to reboot. The other thing I'm going to do is eject my USB key. Move that over to the side, and then we'll just go ahead and restart Windows. And we're going to have several more restarts to do. I'll take you through step by step how I like to get my Windows PC set up. But we'll go ahead and see if it makes it through this reboot, see how quick it is. And then we're going to shut it down, and we're going to actually physically plug in the drives back into the drive bay, because right now I pulled them out. So there's the Mellanox card telling me it's in there. You can see we've got the Kingston SATA drive in there. SATA drive. I'm sorry, the Kingston SSD drive in there. So we'll let it go ahead and boot up. Make sure I can log in. Now right now I'm just using the network connection built into the unit, Ethernet. There we go. I'm able to boot the machine up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down again. And this time I'm going to go ahead and pop in those drives. Let's move it over here. So you can see the power is off now, so I'm just going to go ahead and slide in my 4 2-terabyte drives. The only complaint I have about this drive bay, and you've seen me do a video on it before, is the fact that it's plastic. So if you're popping in drives in and out of the thing, it could be an issue later. I don't know how long that plastic will hold up. Alright, so now let's go back to the PC and make sure it boots up. There's the Mellanox. It should now see all the 2-terabyte drives in there. It does, plus the Kingston. Now, hopefully it'll boot off of the SSD that's in there and not try to boot off, and it did. So that's good. So winner, winner, chicken dinner. So now what we can do is we can actually move back over to my workstation, and we can continue the rest of the setup there. So I think all told, Windows install on this motherboard took me about maybe 10 minutes. Total time, attended and unattended. And now we got Windows up and running, and we can do the rest of what we need to do remotely. Alright, so let's see if we can connect to that machine behind us now. And we'll enter our super secret password. And click on OK. Okay. It seems to not like the security certificate, but other than that, it looks like it is working. There we go. Okay, so first things first. Let's go out here to Edge. Let's go ahead and get that updated. I'm going to run it. So I'm just taking you through the steps that I do to get any Windows 10 machine set up. Suppose we can go ahead and close this old version of Edge. So the first thing I'm going to do, get Edge updated, then I'm going to go out and I'm going to download the current AMD drivers for this motherboard. Let me go ahead and complete the setup here, and I'll continue without signing in. Now I've decided to go, like I said, with this motherboard, so it's the X570P, so what I need to do is go out and download the most recent AMD driver. So let's do AMD X570P driver, or X570 driver. So there they are, X570 drivers in support. There's a Windows 10 64-bit edition. It was released on October 19th. I'm going to go ahead and download it. And we're going to download it and we're going to install it. First things first, huh? Alright, we're going to open it. I'm going to go ahead and close Edge here in the background. Hopefully I didn't close the program. I don't think I did. Let's find out. Did I? Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Oh, let's go back here to downloads. Yes, please. There we go. Okay. So we get our little performance. I swear to God, I swear to you, this is an AMD Ryzen 5 1600 CPU. I don't know why it's identifying it as the Ryzen 5 2600, unless I've lost my mind. This is the CPU that I started out with back when I first got into AMD, and I'm here to tell you that I swear to goodness, it's a Ryzen 5 1600. Why it's identifying as a Ryzen 5 2600? You know, there was a little caveat on this board. It said it worked with the Ryzen Series 1 processors with built-in graphics, but it didn't mention the Ryzen 5 1600 specifically. So I wonder, I don't know, it's just a guess on my part, but and I don't have the most recent BIOS on here either. I was afraid to update to the most recent BIOS because this is working, or I'm hoping it's going to be working. So we'll see if this system is stable, and then we'll upgrade the BIOS on it. And worst case, I'll pull the fan off and just verify that I didn't make a boo-boo. But okay, we'll go ahead and restart. But here's the CPU in the unit I'm currently using, which is my desktop. So let me bring that up. And this one is a Ryzen 5 2600 CPU. This is my workstation, and the Ryzen 5 3600 is behind me. It's that unit on the floor there, that white tower there. That's the Ryzen 5 3600. It is currently hosting Plex right now. Alright, so we'll let that, that being said, we'll let that machine reboot and we'll come back onto it. Alright, so let's get our time zone set correctly. So we'll come down, adjust to the date and time. Good, I'm glad that came up because I kind of like to keep an eye on this. We'll change this to Central Time. Now the next thing I want to do, this is got a GTX 950 video card in here. Now I had a couple of choices. I have an RX 560 video card, but I want to kind of keep that one in reserve for a Hackintosh build that I may be doing. So I decided to go ahead and put the GTX 950 in here for now. Let's go ahead and get the rest of our software on here that we're going to need. I'm going to go out to Ninite to do that. So I'm going to go out Ninite. I want to get this all done at one time. And we're going to get Chrome. We're going to get PuTTY and WinSCP, put it on here. Notepad++. I don't need FileZilla, don't use that. Let's see what else we can get. Get VLC Media Player. Let's go ahead and get Handbrake, just in case I get a wild hair to do a video or compress a video. Let's do WinDirStat. I like that program. Let's see, for imaging, I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that for documents. And let's get 7-zip. So let's go ahead and get our Ninite packaged. And we'll get that installed. Go ahead and open that. And this will keep us abreast of everything that's installing. So, like I said, this video I want to take you soup to nuts on how I get a Windows 10 machine set up. This one is going to be more or less a bench unit for virtualization and testing and a sandbox and that kind of thing. Now, this used to be my, well, it's a long convoluted story. My UNRaid server has currently been retired for now. Not that I'm giving up on UNRaid, but I wanted to create a box that could do what UNRaid can do, but I wanted it to be Windows based, if that makes any sense. Why? Because nothing against UNRaid, but I just would rather do everything through Windows if I can. It just makes my life easier. It just seems, and I'm going to do, so I'll be doing like a comparison of this to UNRaid as we go along. As I point out some of the features that UNRaid has, I'll compare them to what I have just running Windows and the how I can get it to emulate what UNRaid can do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click close here, and then I'm going to open Google Chrome. And I'm going to get started, and next, and we're just going to make Earth next, set as our default browser for now, and bing bang boom, we're ready to go. Now the next thing I want to do is download my NVIDIA drivers. So let's go, it's a GeForce, right? Do they still make it? Yeah, GeForce. GTX series 9, GeForce 9. I don't want a game ready driver, I just need the studio driver. Windows 10. You know, I guess we'll just use the game ready driver. I really don't care. I might play a game on here, who knows. Now this, if I go under here, it should support the GTX 950. Yeah, GeForce GTX. See, mine is the 900 series. Let's go back. GeForce. .900 series. Here we go. GTX 950 game ready driver. Let's see, what does it say? If you are a gamer, game ready driver, content, video editing, animation, photography. See, I'm going to go with the studio drivers. I'm not really going to be playing a bunch of games on here. Oh, decisions. Yeah, I'm not going to be really gaming on here, so search. Uh-oh, no certified downloads were found. Alright, how about game ready driver? Search. Well, there you go. Okay, so it's 460.89. We'll go ahead and download those. So while our game ready drivers are downloading, I'm going to go ahead and get my hard drives prepared here. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to disk management. And I'm going to make sure on all these 2 terabyte drives that I go ahead and I'm going to delete the volume on all of them. Because we're going to put Drive Bender on here. So I've deleted all 4. Now I can also do this at the command prompt, but I just find it easier to use the GUI. So I'm going to create a new volume. I'm not going to assign a drive letter because DriveBender will do that for us. And we're going to call this DB1 for DriveBender 1. Let it do a quick format. Same thing with the rest of them. Do not assign a drive letter. Do this DB2 for DriveBender 2. And so on and so on and so forth. Now we can also pool these drives with Windows, but I like DriveBender. So I'm going to use DriveBender. Been using it for years. No reason to stop now. Alright, so our 4 drives are prepped now for DriveBender, so let's go back and let's get our NVIDIA drivers installed. Yes, please. Okay, extract it to that directory. So what it'll do is it'll extract the executable or the zip file, and then it'll start the install. And I just pretty much do a complete install. You can do a custom and get rid of... In fact, I'll show you how to do a custom install. You don't need to install all the fluff that comes with NVIDIA. So I'm going to do... Let's see. So the GeForce experience requires data to configure your graphics card and applications for blah, 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 blah. We need to know blah, blah, blah. GeForce experience uses data, blah, blah, blah. How about we just install the graphics driver? I'll agree and continue on that. And how about we do custom next? So I want the graphics driver. I want the HD audio driver. I don't need the GeForce experience. Now the SciX system software, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to leave it in there. What the hell? What the doody? Right? I don't know. Maybe that's some, so you can set your monitors or some poopah or something like that. So I'll be able to use this video card even when I'm connecting up remotely to this machine because it's not actually a virtual machine. It's a physical machine. So I'll have all the benefits of the acceleration and everything, even though I'm connecting to this machine remotely, because it's not in a virtual machine per se. Now when it's done, then I should have an extra thing. Oh, it already has it down here. The GPU and NVIDIA GeForce GTX 950. This has been a really solid card other than the fans going out on it, and you play hell trying to find replacement fans, but I made what I had work. Now after I get the graphics driver installed, I will reboot, and then I'll do all the Windows updates. Okay, that's fine. It ended my remote desktop because of the driver. So that's no big deal. We'll just reconnect back up. And there we go. So it's installed it, so I can go ahead and close. Now I'm going to go ahead and restart this machine, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do all the Windows updates, and once all the Windows updates are done, then we'll get into the next series of things to install, like DriveBender. Alright, so the updates are done. I'm going to go ahead and do some drive mappings to Rivendell. So I have my shares available to me, so I'm going to map the applications folder to the Z drive. And let's go ahead and map media to the M drive. And let's go ahead and mount Unky Joe's Playhouse to the U drive. Just like we would do now. I haven't joined the domain with this machine because I don't feel a need to right now. Maybe later if we do some stuff. Now I want to get DriveBender installed, so come over here to DriveBender, and the current version is version 3.7. Go ahead and double click on that and choose Run. Give it permission to run. It's going to want to install some prerequisite software. And we'll let it do that. Pop up a little window up here. It's installing some features of Windows. And then once this installs, we'll need to reboot. So I'll let it finish installing, and then I'll reboot, and then we'll come back and get it all configured. Alright, so Drive Bender is loaded. I've rebooted. Let me do some customization on this. Set my settings the way I like it. Bingo, that's good. Don't need Cortana. I'm going to go ahead and get me a theme from the theme store. I like this one. It's Christmassy, makes me feel warm and centered inside. No, I'm not going to sign in, but you're going to install it anyway. There we go. Oh, I probably just got a copyright strike for that. Okay, and then I'm going to go, now that I've got my theme set up, I'm going to go to colors and turn on the dark theme, because I like the dark theme. Oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't that pretty? Alright, so let's go to Drive Bender now. And actually, I don't know if it has my license key in here or not. I'm going to go ahead and create my drive pool, though. So I'm going to create a new mount point. I'm going to do drive letter P. And we're going to call it Pool 1. Click on Create. Yes, I want to create drive letter P. And then I'm going to go ahead and add these 4 drives to it. So just click on the plus, accept the defaults. You want drive volume renapping and manage drive letters. Click on Add. Yes. Alright, do that with the other 3. They make it very simple to create a drive pool, don't they? And then the 4th one. Now, it'll take a few minutes before you get any smart reporting or anything like that. Give it, 10 or 15 minutes, and give it 10 or 15 minutes before it starts updating. And you may get an error here that the drive pool has got an error on it. Ignore that. It'll go away after a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and activate my drive pool on here so that it stops warning me, and then I'll be right back. Now, the next thing I want to be able to do on this machine is run virtual machines. So I'm going to come over to my applications drive and come down to my, I don't know whether I've got it under VMware or vMug. VMware. Now, I think it's under vMug. There should be, there it is, VMware Workstation Full, right there. 16.0.0. So let's double click on that. And go ahead and run. Now, if you don't want to use VMware Workstation, you could use VirtualBox. I just prefer VMware Workstation. I'm paying for it through vMug, so that's what I like to use. And remember, we're trying to get as close as we can to emulating the kind of thing that UNRaid does. So we'll click Next here on and accept the license agreement. We're going to accept the defaults. I don't need the enhanced keyboard driver. I'm going to join the VMware and check it for, I'm not going to check it for product updates and start. I'm going to create a desktop icon and a start menu programs folder and install. Alright, so it's finished with the install, so you got a couple of choices here. You go ahead and enter your license key, or you can just click finish, and that's what I'm going to do, is click on finish. So now we've got VMware Workstation installed, we've got Drive Bender installed. Let's go out and look at our PC and make sure we've got all of our drivers loaded. Come over here to Device Manager, and we have our Mellanox, we have our display adapter, let's see, disk drives. Everything's being seen, everything's working as it should be. Seeing our processors. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and run Ada on here and burn this thing in. And then we're going to start playing around with BIOS settings and maybe adding some more RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and run Ada 64. We're going to go ahead and let this run a stress test for a while. I think I have an older version of Ada, so it's going to prompt me to update it. Let's get this out of the way. We're going to tell it no. Okay, and that's what I was talking about, the drive bender, the mount point drive P. You can ignore that. Go to System Stability and click on Start. We're going to stress the CPU, the floating point unit, the cache, and system memory. So we'll let this run for half hour, 45 minutes. And we'll come back and make sure there's no errors on it. So as you can see, I've got something very similar to what UNRaid can do, but it's running Windows, running Windows 10. Now, I know a lot of you out there don't like Windows 10, and that's fine. Maybe this video isn't for you. You know, Windows 10, you can get it as cheap as 20 or 30 bucks, you know, depending on where you shop for it. Drive Bender is another 40 or 50 bucks. So there is going to be some money to be put into this, but you know, you get what you pay for, as they say. And I just think Drive Bender, for my circumstances, is a better choice than the way UNRaid sets up the RAID. Now, keep in mind, UNRaid 6.9 is in beta right now. They might actually have a release candidate. I'm going to play with that version as well and get to know it, because they give you the ability to set up drive pooling very similar to how Synology and how Drive Bender can do it. So that is going to be a new feature. The main reason I wanted to go with the Windows box for virtualization is because I just find it easier to use to virtualize machines, and especially Linux or other Windows machines. It just seems to be, you know, trivial. And then you've got the cost of VMware Workstation. However, if you use the free version of VirtualBox, you don't have that cost. So, you know, you have to weigh these things. And there is a fee for UNRaid, so you're paying for UNRaid 69, 79, 89 bucks, depending on what version of UNRaid you get. So there's always going to be a cost associated. Now, I know a lot of you will say, well, just use free NAS and or you know, true NAS, whatever the hell they're calling it now, this NAS, that NAS. No, I'm not fond of that program, and the virtualization in it isn't that great. Now, the other thing you could do is roll your own. You could build a Linux server, and you could put in QEMU or whatever the hell that program is, and build your own virtualization server. But again, that'd defeat the purpose of this video. I'm a Windows guy. I want to use Windows to do this. Now, the one virtual machine I have not been able to get up and running on this yet is OS 10. So I'm going to work on that. There are ways to do it, they claim. The big impeding factor for me is on this machine that this is an AMD processor, so there's some special steps that you have to do to get OS 10 running on a AMD processor, even in a virtual machine. So maybe I'll overcome those obstacles, maybe I won't. I've just got to get my head wrapped around it and figure it out. So there you go. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a thumbs up down below if you liked it. Leave your comments in the comments section. Subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified of new videos. We also mirror all of our content over on Odyssey and Library, just in case something happens to YouTube, because you never know in these wonderful times we live in. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal, Patreon, and the YouTube join button, which is a recurring monthly fee. So if you can afford it, donate. It goes right back into the channel so we can get new products to review and analyze. And yeah, I had a lot of fun making this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and enjoy the effort I put into it. Please come back and see us again. And don't forget, we'll see you and all the little minions behind you on the other side.